All right, so I want to do some ratio review problems and add a couple new types of problems. All right, in these two problems, I want to try to clear up or try to help you understand which ratio word we would put on top and which ratio word we would put on bottom. So we're going to look at both of these problems, but I'm going to start with the first one. So Miguel ate 1/4 of a pizza in 1/2 of an hour. So we have pizza and hour, and those are our two words that I'm going to try to put into a ratio. So the question at the end is the important thing to read. How much pizza would Miguel eat in 1 hour? So how much pizza, what we don't know, I like to put on top. And what we do know, if it's telling us a quantity or a unit rate, I like to put that quantity on the bottom. So how much pizza? We don't know how much pizza. So I'm going to put pizza on the top. Oops, and hour on the bottom. And I'm going to make two ratios that are the same. Pizza on the top and hour on the bottom. So, and then I'm going to finish my setup. So I'm going to read the problem. And it says that Miguel ate 1/4 of a pizza in 1/2 of an hour. So 1/4 goes with pizza. And 1/2 goes with hour. So then I'm going to look at my question again, and it says, how much pizza would Miguel eat in 1 hour? So how much pizza? We don't know, so that's where I put my X. I don't know how much pizza. And Miguel, how much pizza would Miguel eat in 1 hour? So I have a 1 on the bottom. All right, so now I can go and figure out my problem. So how do I get from 1/2 to 1? Well, I divide by 1/2. So whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So I'm going to divide 1/4 by 1/2. All right, so now I'm going to finish the problem. I just made it a little smaller. So we are going to, to finish the problem, we want to take 1/4 and divide 1/2 to get X. So I'm going to do that down here. So 1/4 divided by 1/2 would equal what we need on top of the ratio that we're missing. So keep change flip, 1/2 times flip 2 over 1 would equal 2/4, which I can reduce to 1/2, which goes on top of my ratio where my X is. So our answer is Miguel would eat 1/2, so 1/2 of a pizza per hour. So our answer is 1/2 of a pizza per hour. All right, so the next problem starts the exact same way, but the question at the end is different, so we're going to set up our ratio different. It says, how long will it take Miguel to eat 1 pizza? So it still says Miguel ate 1/4 of a pizza in 1/2 of an hour, but the question determines how we would set up the ratio, which one goes on top and which one goes on bottom. So how long will it take Miguel? So how long means what part of an hour to eat 1 pizza. So what goes on bottom, if I have 1 or any quantity like 3 pizzas, I would put that on the bottom. So pizzas on bottom in this question, and hour would be on top. My ratios would look like this. So I put pizza on the bottom because it's asking how long it will take Miguel to eat 1 pizza. So if it has a quantity with one of the ratios, that's what I put on bottom. And the unknown goes on top. We don't know how long. They're asking us how long. So my X, or my unknown variable, goes on top. All right, so, and I filled in the information from the problem. This time 1/2 hour is on top and 1/4 pizza is on bottom. And now we're going to solve. So to get from 1/4 to 1, I would divide, oops, let me do red. I divide by 1/4. So whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So I'm going to divide 1/4 to the top to get my missing value, because these are just like solving equivalent ratios. All right. So 1/2 divided by 1/4. I'm trying to figure out my problem to find out what x is. Equals keep, oops, darn it, keep, change, flip. So I'd flip the 1/4 to 4/1. Then we have 4/2, which reduces to 2. So our answer is really 2 hours per one pizza. So 2 hours per one pizza. That's how long it would take Miguel to eat a pizza, 2 hours. All right, let's try another problem. Fred drove 560 miles in 4 days. If he continues at the same rate, how many total miles will he drive in 6 days? So we have 560 miles in 4 days. That will make up one ratio. And then what's it asking us? How many total miles will he drive in 6 days? So we don't know how many miles, so that quantity is going to go on top. Miles is going to go on top, and they're giving us a quantity 6 days, so 6 days will go on the bottom. So if it said 1 day or any other quantity of days, that ratio goes on the bottom. All right, so I set up my ratios according to the question at the end. How many total miles? My x is on top, x miles. Will he drive in 6 days? And now I can solve. But I can't find my answer using equivalent ratios. How do I get from 4 to 6? I'm not sure. How do I get from 560 to x? Well, I don't know about that. So I'm going to solve by using cross products. All right, so we're going to do 4 times x and 560 times 6. So 4 times x is, whoops, let me do this, is 4x. So 4x equals whatever 560 times 6 is. Well, using my calculator, 560 times 6 is 3,360. So now I want to get x all alone. So I'm going to try to make 4 into 1. So to make 4 1, I divide by 4. Whatever I do to this side, I have to do to this side. So now x would equal, so that would just be 1x. X equals 840. I did that on my calculator too. So, which I would fill in for the miles. So my answer, how many total miles will he drive in 6 days? 840 miles in 6 days. All right, let's review a problem that has similar shapes. So the two shapes are similar. Identify the missing side length. So I'm going to make a ratio. So I'm going to color this green and the corresponding side green, and then this side corresponds to this side. So for this one, I'm actually going to put a green X over the red one, green over red and green over red. So X over 85 should be the same proportion as 52 feet over 34 feet, since they're similar shapes. So again, I just did X over 85 should be the same proportion as 52 feet over 34 feet. So now we can solve for X using cross products. So I'm going to multiply 85 by 52 and 34 by x. So I'm going to do 34 by x, which is 34x, and that equals 400 or 4,400. Oops, I'm running out of space. Hold on. Sorry. Dreads. All right, so it equals 85 times 52 is 4,420. Then I need to get x all alone, so I am going to divide by 34 on this side. Whatever I do to this side, I have to do to this side. So I'm going to divide by 34 on this side. 34 over 34 becomes 1, so now we just have 1x, or x, and 4,420 divided by 34 on my calculator is 130. So the missing side is 130 feet. So the missing side over here. All right. All right, one quick rational numbers review problem. All right, we're adding negative 3/4 plus negative 1/8 plus 5/8. All right, so what do I do when I'm adding fractions? I have to get common denominators. So I have 8s and 8s here, so I'm going to change negative 3/4 to 8s. All right, so negative 3/4, change that. How many 8s would that be? I'm just going to write that right beside there. So to get from 4 to 8, I would multiply by 2. So I'm going to do the same to the top. So negative 3/4 would equal how many 8s? Times 2 on top. So that 3 times 2 is 6, and it would still be negative. All right, so I just rewrote my problem. So negative 3/4 is equivalent to negative 6/8. So now we have negative 6/8 plus negative 1/8 plus 5/8. Well, I'm going to group my negatives. So I can group negative 6/8 and negative 1/8 and add that together. So a negative plus a negative is more negative. So now I have negative 7/8 plus 5/8. So now who wins? Well, I have more negatives. So the negatives win by 2/8. Oh, and I can reduce that. So I can divide by 2, divide by 2. So that would actually negative 2/8 is equivalent to negative 1/4. So the answer to the problem is negative 1/4.